And I'm back for another live stream brought to you by Princess Dental Staffing. So happy to see everyone here on this Wednesday. Happy Hump Day, everyone. So each week we are bringing you new topics which talk about starting or maintaining your career in the dental industry, giving you some tips, tricks, insights, and techniques on job search and, like I said, maintaining your career. So each week we're bringing these to you on Wednesdays. And before we jump into today's topic, I do want to make note of a time change. So starting next week, we're still going to be doing these live streams on Wednesday, but we're going to change time starting next week. Next week, we're going to be switching. We're going to be going an hour back. So it's going to be, they're going to go live 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that's noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific. Okay, so starting next week, we're going to be rolling these back an hour back. Okay, but we'll still be bringing to you on Wednesdays. Now, if you enjoy the content that we're bringing you each week, be sure to like this video. And of course, if you have any questions, comments, or any insights on any of the information that we're covering, be sure to comment below. And if we can't get to your comment when this stream is live, of course, we will get to it as soon as possible later, okay? And it's also super easy to go on Princess Dental Staffing's website, princessdentalstaffing.com, to search their blog for more information on the topics that we're covering on these streams. Also super easy to create a profile and start searching for jobs, okay? So with all that said, let's go ahead and jump into today's topic. Today's topic is how to write a thank you email after an interview. Okay, so thank you email. Let's first talk about what a thank you email is. Essentially, a thank you email is just a short, brief email that you send to your interviewers. You want to send it within 24 hours after your interview. Okay, just a short email to express your gratitude for them taking time out of their schedule to meet with you and to give you this opportunity to interview for this position, and to express your enthusiasm in moving forward in the application process. Okay, that's essentially what it is. And before email, of course, people did this all the time. They sent a thank you note or a thank you letter, just a handwritten note, which you can still absolutely do. Definitely still an option, but it's 2020. So if you have email available, if you have the interviewer's email addresses available, go ahead and shoot them a thank you email. It's quicker and it's easier to access that way. Okay, definitely not downing, downing, a nice handwritten note. That's still absolutely appreciated. But email is probably a more modern way to do this. So let's talk about some of the benefits of writing a thank you email. Okay. So again, it's a great chance to show your appreciation for the opportunity to interview, and it's a great way to show your potential employers that you're still interested in in the position, and that you're likely to accept an offer if it's extended. Okay. It's also easier to access than a handwritten note, of course, and it's also really important. So I think some people, really don't, especially some job seekers, I think they really don't appreciate the element of, being enthusiastic and, for the position that they're applying for and that they're interviewing for. So if you've seen some of these streams before, if you're, a regular viewer, you probably know already that currently I'm a certified professional resume writer, but before that, my career actually started in human resources, and most of that experience was concentrated in recruitment, selection, and onboarding. So I've talked with a lot of different hiring managers across a lot of different industries, and one thing in my experience that a lot of them have in common when it comes to the application process is that they definitely appreciate enthusiasm, a willingness to learn, and those are some of the qualities that they look for when they're looking for a potential new employee. Okay, obviously, education and experience are obviously very important as well, but that enthusiasm and willingness element are definitely things that they look for. So I think it's really, really important to have those elements, not just in the thank you note, definitely in their interview as well. But a thank you note is just a great way to kind of reiterate your enthusiasm for the position. Got a question coming in. How long after the interview should we send the thank you email to the interviewer? Within 24 hours, Taylor. Definitely within 24 hours after the interview. Okay, it's the best time to do it. Okay. So that's basically what a thank you email is and why you send them. They're definitely not, especially in my experience, they're not very common actually. So I think sending a thank you email is actually still a great way to stand out from the stack as well, to get your potential new employer to remember you and really stick in their brain as well. Okay, so let's talk about some things that you want to, like basically we're going to be talking about the structure of a thank you email and some things to include and why. Okay, so firstly, make sure you begin with a clear subject line. Okay, it's 2020, we all know not to send an email without a subject line, right? Definitely want to include a clear, concise subject line. So you might say something like, you might mention the interviewer's name and the words thank you. So you might say, thank you, Sally, or thank you for your time, Sally, or something like that, something to make clear that it's a thank you note. You can include your name as well, alternately. So you could say, thank you note from Colleen, or something like that. Something that just kind of makes clear, the purpose of the email in the subject line, so it's less likely to kind of be ignored or to go to spam or something like that. Okay, be categorized as spam or junk. Okay. Okay, so next we want to start with a personalized greeting. Okay, so you don't want your just generic good morning, good afternoon, or hello or hi or something like that. Include the person's name, the interviewer's name, right? So hi, Sally, or hello, Sally, or what have you. Address the person by name, and it gives it more of a personal feel. Okay. Next, show your appreciation for them. So start off the body of your email with an a mission of appreciation. So, thank you for taking the time to meet with me today, or, I appreciate the opportunity to interview today for this position, or something like that. Just something that expresses your gratitude for them taking the time out of their schedule to meet with you and to give you the opportunity to interview for this position. Subject lines are important. Yes, Sahar, absolutely. They're very important. No subject line, to me, at least to me, I see something with no subject line, it's probably spam. So I just kind of delete it. And also, it's also kind of like a red flag, right? Maybe, you're sending like a link to a virus, or there's an attachment or something like that. Yeah, it's never a good thing. Absolutely always include a subject line. Okay. So starting off with your personalized greeting, and then starting the body of your email with appreciation for the interviewer. Okay, after that, reference something specific from the interview. I think this is probably the biggest mistake that I see for job seekers and interviewees when, writing out that thank you email. They do something like really, really generic. Make sure you mention something specific from the interview. This accomplishes several different things. One, again, it gives you that personalized element, right? That personalization, and it kind of helps remind the interviewer which one you were, right? Because they probably are interviewing more than one person, more than just you, right? It also helps. It's also an opportunity to remind the interviewers, the potential new employers, of your skills and how you can meet the needs of this role. And again, also expresses that enthusiasm. Okay, so you might say something like, "Oh, I was particularly interested in our conversation in the interview where you stated the need for the incumbent to be able to work in a fast-paced environment. As demonstrated in my resume, of course, I have a lot of experience in working in fast-paced environments, and I think my expertise in time management and organization can really align well with your needs for this role." Okay, something like that, just kind of an example that's something like that, mention something specific from the interview and just kind of reiterate how you can meet their needs for this role. Okay, and then of course your enthusiasm for this role as well. Okay. If you have several people you interview with, can you send one to each one? Is it too much? You can send a group email if you want to. Or you can send individual emails. But if you're going to send, I recommend if you're going to send individual emails, to go ahead and individualize all of them. Okay. So either way, it's totally fine either way. But like I said, if you're going to do a group email, totally fine. Just make sure that you address all of them. That's totally fine. But if you're going to do, each specific interviewer, then go ahead and individualize each email, okay? Which can take a little bit more time, but I think, with thank you emails, I think it's appreciated, the time, effort, and energy it takes to create one, I think it's appreciated either way. In my experience, I didn't really see a difference among hiring managers regarding whether they received one group email or, each or individual email, okay? I think they appreciated it either way. So I don't know that it makes a huge difference. It's really just kind of a preference, I think. Okay. Great question, though. Great question. Okay. Okay, so we just talked about referencing something specific from the interview and kind of reminding them of your skills and how you can align with this position. Next, after that, go ahead and reinstate your interest in the position. You can say something like, after meeting with you today, I am even more confident that my, experience in education closely align with your needs for this position, and that I'm coming up with all of this off the top of my head, by the way. Closely align with your needs for this position, and that I can tackle any challenge presented in this role. Something like that. Okay, something that restates your interest in the position, and also, again, just kind of gently reminds them that you can absolutely do all of, accomplish all of the tasks and responsibilities of the position, and then some. Okay. And then after that, make sure that you invite them to contact you with any questions, right? So sometimes, and I've seen this a few times, it doesn't happen as often as you would think, but sometimes, if the interview comes down really closely to one or two, maybe three candidates, sometimes potential employers will do like one more final kind of phone screen to kind of determine, kind of break the tie, right? So make sure that you invite them to contact you with any questions, or if they need any further information that can help them make a decision, right? Because sometimes I've seen that happen. Definitely that does happen. Sometimes it just comes down too closely to one or two candidates, and, they want to, schedule a final phone screen, or maybe even a final interview to kind of break that tie and determine, who they are going to make the offer to. Okay, so make sure you say something like, in the meantime, I'm excited to move forward in the application process. If you need any other information from me in the meantime, please don't hesitate to reach out via phone or email. Okay. And then wrap it up professionally. Just go ahead and wrap up the email. Say something like, best regards, kind regards, sincerely, thank you for your time, and then your name. And then under your name, make sure you include your phone number, okay? You can include your email address if you want to, but they already have it because you're sending them an email. So they can just respond, they can just reply to your email. You can include that if you want to, but definitely include your phone number. Yes, of course, they already have it on your resume or your application, whatever you submitted, your cover letter, whatever. But it's all about convenience, being, just making things more convenient for them and making it easier for them to refer back to your information. So go ahead and include, Colleen Tapia, or, kind regards, Colleen Tapia, 123-456-7890. Okay. Let's see, I've got some questions coming in here. If the employer interviewer does not send a reply email back to me acknowledging that they have received my thank you email, is it okay to not worry knowing that I did my part in thanking them? Yeah, I don't think it's a big deal if they don't reply back. At least not immediately. you can definitely, like I said, you've invited them to refer back to you with any questions or concerns. Um, you can also, if you're concerned about, it kind of sounds like maybe you're concerned a little bit about, maybe you have the wrong email address or something and it didn't get to them. So you can always send like a read receipt. I know you can do that in Outlook. I think you can do it in Gmail as well. You can always send a read receipt, or you can always ask them politely just to say, you can always add one more sentence to say, I want to make sure that you got this thank you email. So if you could send a quick reply just to let me know that you got it, I'd really appreciate it. Something like that. Nothing that demands too much of them. They have a lot of, interviews to go through, and a lot of, and they're taking time out of their busy and probably full schedules because they obviously need some people in the office. So I wouldn't worry about it too much, but if it is, if you want to make sure that they got it because you want to just make sure that you have the correct email address, you can always add one more line saying, hey, can you just respond back? You can request a read receipt, or something to that effect. Okay. Do people actually still even do that? Yes, Deanna, they actually do. They do still do thank you notes and thank you emails. And I always appreciate it. Again, I kind of mentioned it earlier. I was in human resources, and I've actually, even me, I've gotten thank you notes before for just facilitating the process, which I always appreciated. I mean, I always recommend sending it to the interviewer, though, because generally human resources doesn't necessarily make the final decision, but I always appreciated it. And that applicant always stood out in my mind. And like I said, I spoke with other hiring managers who always appreciated a thank you note. So, and it helps you stick out in their mind. Okay. I've never had one reply back, so I've stopped altogether, like a waste of my time. Yeah, okay. So I can kind of see what you're saying. Like I said, just because they haven't replied back doesn't mean they didn't get it or didn't appreciate it. And I kind of talked a little bit earlier about you can always request a read receipt, or you can request them to just kind of send you a quick note back saying yes, I did receive it, or something like that. But I never think it's a waste of time because worst case scenario. So sure, it takes you 5-10 minutes to write an email, maybe not even that long. So it's like 5-10 minutes out of your day to send an email, and then, then actually appreciating it. But worst case scenario, you send it to the wrong email address, they didn't get it. No harm, no foul, right? It's not going to make anything worse to send a thank you note. And that's just kind of how I rationalize it. I mean, that's definitely good insight, Deanna. But like I said, my thinking is it takes 5-10 minutes out of my time. Let me go ahead and do it. And it couldn't hurt my chances, right? Okay. Yes. So those are my tips for writing a thank you note. We're just going to kind of go over them one more time just to kind of wrap up what we talked about. So begin with a clear subject line, right? Start with a personalized greeting. Make sure you use their name. Show your appreciation for them. Say thank you for interviewing me today. Reference something specific from the interview. Again, it helps create that personalization. Also helps them remind them who you were, helps you stand out, and allows you to remind them of your skills and how you can tackle this role. Okay. Restate your interest in the position. Again, enthusiasm goes a long way with a lot of hiring managers, at least in my experience. Say that you can invite them to contact you in the meantime, and then wrap it up professionally. Okay. Another question here: do you prefer an email versus a thank you card or a letter? I think that's going to be a personal preference, and I don't think you can really kind of predict that for every single person. I always recommend an email just because it's quicker. Okay, so even if you send a thank you note, even if you go home, write a thank you note and put it in the mail, it's still going to take like a few days to get to them. And you definitely want to get it to them within 24 hours because normally if they're wrapping up interviews, they're likely going to make their decision soon. So you definitely want to get it to them within 24 hours. But I've never had a problem with a handwritten thank you note. I've gotten a few of those over the course of my career. I appreciate them just as much, definitely. I heard a story recently from another HR person where the interviewee they finished the interview, they went out to the car and they actually wrote a handwritten note for each of I think they were interviewing with 3 people, so they wrote a handwritten note and then came back in and handed them to the the office assistant, receptionist, whoever it was, and said, "Can you please distribute whenever you have time? Thank you so much," and left. So that's actually a tactic. If you prefer a handwritten note, if you prefer to do a handwritten note as opposed to an email, that might be something that you want to do. Okay. So those are my tips and tricks for you, everyone. Thanks so much for the great questions and insights today, guys. Those are some really great questions and insights. And if you have any more, go ahead and keep them coming, and we'll get back to them and answer you as quickly as possible. But thanks for being here with me today, everyone. And just real quick before I sign off, I want to say Happy Veterans Day. And I just want to extend a heartfelt thank you to our veterans. Thank you for your commitment. Thank you for your dedication, your service, and your sacrifice. Thank you so much, and Happy Veterans Day, everyone. So thanks for being here with me. We will be back next week. Again, just a reminder of the time change, 1 p.m. Eastern, noon Central, 11 a.m. Mountain, and 10 a.m. Pacific, okay? See you guys next week. Have a great week. Have a great weekend. Thanks for being here. See you soon. Bye.